college football teams on the decline. We did college football teams on the incline yesterday, college football teams on the incline. So we'll have to be a little creative here, Caleb.
Well, now the decline, you mean the decline.
The decline. We'll have to be a little bit creative as we have 4 downs and 5 teams. But first, let me say this. People need to.
Cooper Mays here. Hit like and subscribe.
Thank you. And if you haven't done that yet, then you can't win that Garmin watch. What down, Coop?
Coop here. First down.
Brought to you by Rick Terry. So you had Ohio State number 5, Georgia number 4. Those are 2 powers. So let's address those first. Ohio State and Georgia. Now, I happen to agree with you, but I'm going to all out play devil's advocate. Okay. So this is not, we're not going to do it like a rehearsed debate or anything. This is, I believe in what Caleb's about to say because we've talked about it so many times off the air. But let me play devil's advocate. Take Ohio State.
So Ohio State, oh, you want me to explain it? Ohio State, I'll start with them now. And by the way, that's funny. You mentioned Ohio State and Georgia. I told you there's the golden trio of jobs where you could just pluck an average Joe Schmo out of anywhere in the world and have them coach those programs and they'd win a national title. Ohio State, Georgia, and LSU are those 3 programs. Nobody else belongs on that list, right? Those are the 3.
Okay. I can roll with that. Back in the day, you'd have Southern California in there, but Southern California and that area is not a football area.
And it's in Southern California, those kids aren't committed to playing in LA. Like a lot of other schools can come and pluck those kids out of LA that are talented. I mean, there's never been a loyalty to Southern California in the LA area. Is that fair to say?
Agreed. Which it's not a football area. That's what I was alluding to. Anyway, so so Ohio State, your argument is?
My argument for Ohio State is that I think that this is a match made in hell. And when you match Chip Kelly with the Ryan Day, it's clear that the Ohio State administration, I don't think they know what they're doing. They're trying to purposely undercut Ryan Day because they're spending all this NIL money while publicly undercutting their head coach, which will destroy you. As you know, Dave, in 1992, when Tennessee thought they had 2 head coaches, they lost 3 straight games because in reality, they had no head coach at that point when Johnny Majors came back. And that's going to create a rift. It's going to collapse the program. They're going to ease Ryan Day out. They're going to put Chip Kelly in. It's going to create more rifts down the line. And I think Chip Kelly has let the game pass him by.
Ohio State fans say,
why don't you shut the hell up?
All right. Chip Kelly upgrades their coaching staff. Judkins from Ole Miss upgrades their backfield. Ryan Day, before the past year, I've been told was a wonderkin. I've defended Ohio State. Georgia, which actually Georgia will become now 4th down. As Cooper will remind.
What type of official do I have?
It's 4th, but it's first down. First down is number 4.
Coop here. First down.
You've got the University of Georgia. Why?
I think now this decline, I don't think is a long-term thing, and it'll be very quickly fixable. But I think that after 2 national titles, just missing last year, I think 2 things are happening. One, I think they're going to put too much pressure on Carson Beck. And I think you see this with programs. You saw Nick Saban do this with Bryce Young. When elite, talented programs have an elite quarterback, the rest of the talented players, they step back a little bit and put too much on the quarterback. It's what Tennessee did with Peyton Manning. And I think that's going to cost them this year. Then you have all the discipline issues. That's going to resonate with recruits and parents of recruits down the line, which is why I am here to tell you Kirby Smart has won his last national championship with Georgia.
Stole the thunder from me there. I agree. I agree with that. I can't.
And you wouldn't have said that a year ago, would you?
No. I think the fact that the off-field car issues have not stopped shows a lack of respect. It shows a team mindset that if you're a player, that you can get on the field no matter what you do off the field. I think it led to Philip Fulmer's downfall. I think, unless I'm proven wrong, that's what's happening at Georgia. Now, where you and I will differ is I think they've probably got 1 or 2 more runs in them because of talent and the old chip on their shoulder. Hey, last year was that championship, kind of the way they did with Stetson Bennett and Carson Beck. So I think there's a lot of players that want to prove themselves and talented players and want to get ready for the NFL draft. So you and I differ. I think they could win a championship this year. I haven't made my pick yet, but I think you will see them on the decline. So maybe I'm jumping around the issue. That wouldn't be decline from this point forward, but do you see what I'm getting at?
Yep, I see where you're getting at.
Okay. I think we're on the end of the run. So maybe
you think the run is still there, but it's about to, the wheels are about to come off.
And I would not be surprised if they came off this year.
Kind of like when the Cowboys in 95 won the Super Bowl. Like it was still there.
You cannot come up with a better comparison. You absolutely cannot. I felt bad for the Steelers in the Super Bowl because that was such a despicable Cowboys team and what they did off the field. And these guys have killed people.
Yeah. 2008 Florida. You saw what was coming down the pipe after 2008.
And then Kirby Smart says we're going to leave it up to the collectives to find them.
Well, I actually don't mind that. I mean, punish players with their money.
Yeah, but he should be in charge of it. He should be calling the collectives, and maybe there's an NCAA rule, but he seemed to just push
doing it though. Maybe that's what he's doing behind the scenes.
Yeah, he probably is. All right.
Cooper Mays here. Second down.
All right. Second down, you've got Alabama at number 3. College football teams on the decline. I'm going to let you make your argument, but I'm the very same way here. I think that they'll have a run, maybe 2 left in them as far as the season, but I think the end of the run is near and that they'll either have to rebuild their program with more NIL, with different kinds of players, because Kalen DeBoer is an offensive coach and not a defensive coach, or Kalen DeBoer will get fired in 3 or 4 years. That's what I think.
So
Alabama.
This was tough for me because if you just threw the last 16 years of Nick Saban out the window and just looked at what's happening at Alabama right now, you would say that program is in great shape, right? I mean, Kalen, they got a coach who just went to the college football playoff. They got the number 2 ranked recruiting class next year. How could you not be excited? And it almost made me not put them on the list. But my default position is like, it's just a default position. Nick Saban was there and he's not there. By definition, you're on the decline when that happens, right? Just like if you are the Bulls and Michael Jordan retires, you're on the decline. Now, you don't have to decline the way they did, but you get my point. You're on the decline in those situations. And so just because of that, you know, I'm not one that I don't believe in the pattern of following a legend. I just think most of the time coaches don't work out. But because most of the time coaches don't work out, what are the chances you're going to have back-to-back Nick Sabans? It's never happened in football.
No, it hasn't. And we want to get to what down are we at? We're Coop. Tell me, huh? What? I think we're at third down.
Tennessee center Cooper Mays here. Third down.
We are at third down. Now, this one surprises me before we get to number 1. That's good news for Tennessee fans. I would argue even better news than if Georgia and Alabama were on the slide because it'll help immensely in recruiting. But you've got Michigan. Now, you've changed on me a little bit. You seem to like Sharon more when he was hired. You compared him to Philip Fulmer and taking over for a legend. I think we were busy, and I didn't have the time to give you my full retort. But have you softened on that?
Well, the difference between the legend Philip Fulmer replaced and the legend Sharon Moore replaced is the legend Sharon Moore replaced actually won a national title at his school.
Right.
Sorry, unfair blow to Johnny Majors right there. But
no point in that, and it hurts, but that's fine.
Well, Johnny Majors was a problem in the sense that he always lost one game he should have won every year at Tennessee.
Okay, let's get to Sharon Moore. That's going to be an utter disaster.
To Sharon Moore, I think Sharon Moore is actually a very good coach. I don't think Michigan can replicate what they just did on the NIL front last year. That was impressive to get all these. Remember Billy Donovan, Dave, at Florida when he got his starting 5 to come back another year after winning the national title? That's what Michigan just did on the NIL front. That's never being done again, guys. That's never being done again.
Are you talking about headed into the 23 season or headed into the 24 season?
Head into the 23 season.
Right.
The way they got everybody to come back.
Right. They were an older team, and you're right. They were a mature team, took advantage of both the COVID and NIL to be an older football team. And I thought it was pretty evident that they were men in September when there were a lot of boys running around in college football still trying to find their way as far as physical maturity. Now, number 1, I'm going to argue is bigger for Tennessee than Georgia being on the decline. Okay. And I'm going to do that in 15 seconds, I got to tell you, the show's represented by Newbert Collision Center.
5th year, the second and third generations continue Joe Newbert's commitment.
His vision of what this business needed to be, we still try to live up to that.
Joe Newbert Collision Center.
Cooper Mays here. Hit like and subscribe. All SEC Center Cooper Mays here. 4th down.
You are all SEC, sir. And number 1 is whom?
Number 1 is very obviously Clemson. They have been on the decline for 3 years now, and that decline is not slowing down anytime soon. It's picking up.
Okay.
And
now, you and I have agreed on a lot of things today, but I don't think you're going to get me on this one. And I'll tell you why. I think Clemson is doing a good job of shoring up their recruiting in that area in South Carolina. They've had some success there. They're number 13th in the nation with their 2025 class. And I don't think Clemson wins another national title. So maybe that by definition is on decline. But Caleb, I think that Clemson is relevant, a tough out, and a good recruiting team for 2 or 3 or 4 more years until Dabo hangs it up.
so I think
Maybe that is on the decline.
that's a decline, yes, and I think it's a little more rapid than you think.
Okay.
Dabo Sweeney's getting very flustered with the way fans are coming at him. I haven't seen coaches do this in the past, where to be this successful and then be this upset with the way fans are coming at him. And
let me ask you this: what did Clemson do in their last bowl game?
what was their last bowl game? Actually, I didn't even pay attention to it because I don't think they cared to be there.
No, they didn't, and that's. I want to go back to the 2022 season that finished that up, and listen. One of the things that Clemson has going for them is they like to play hard for their coach, and they did not do so against the Vols in that Orange Bowl. Would you agree with that?
They didn't do so at all. They did not bother to show up.
Okay, so that's the signature of a Dabo Sweeney team. So that's a sign to me that you're losing a Dabo Sweeney team, or Dabo Sweeney is losing his team. You play Kentucky and the bowl game, you win 38-35. Are you on Kentucky's level now? Is that what you are?
Not on Kentucky's level, but close. And I'm going to draw a real quick comparison, David. This may be so unfair to Dabo Sweeney, but I'm going to do it.
I think it may be way closer than you think because Kentucky plays in a tougher conference.
Okay, possibly, but that's the part is by being in the ACC and being stuck in that back contract that they can't get out of and constantly publicly fighting to get out of, Clemson's going to have a harder and harder time recruiting. Now, they're not going to miss playoffs because the college football playoff has those auto bids for ACC schools and they can sneak in an ACC title. But here's the thing. Dabo literally was telling fans last year that they're part of the problem. You heard those call-in shows, right?
Yes.
Dabo, some people were like, oh, Dabo's backing his team. No, players know when the coach is trying to cover for himself for actually backing his team. And I'm going to call him out. We love him on the show. But Ron Slay said to me one time that when Jerry Green said fans can go to Kmart, he really showed he had our back. Well, Ronnie may have showed he had your back, but you guys didn't feel like he had your back because y'all lost like half the rest of your games after he said that. Okay. So it seems more like when Jerry Green said that, you may have thought he had your back, but what we all saw was Jerry Green was kind of trying to cover for himself, and that seemed to infect the basketball team. Now, Dabo Sweeney, what he's saying seems to be covering for himself, which I think is going to infect the football team even more.